I'm back again. It's a new week. Y'all know how I do. It's a book review. Didn't mean to rhyme that. But yeah, this week I read Maya Angelou's letter to my daughter. Now, it is Black History Month, so this month, well, usually every week I'm reading a black author because I'm a black author, I'm a black writer, if you guys didn't know. But I've been reading a lot of black authors specifically this month because it's Black History Month and I'm black AF. So this week I read Maya Angelou, and oddly enough, Maya Angelou does not have a daughter, but she wrote this book, this series of short stories and essays to her metaphorical daughters in the world. Um, to relate to just give them, sage advice, and she drops gems, and she kind of like shows her true colors in this. At least that's what I picked up on. So yeah, I read Letter to My Daughter, and I was very impressed. I growing up, I was not a fan of Maya Angelou because when I would hear about her or like see interviews about her, she always came across as like you young people, and I'd be like, I can't stand old people like that. Like I love older people. I love the wisdom that they freely give out because they don't have to give it, but it would be helpful if we could just get some edge on the competition. I like old people like that. I like old people. Like I love old people. I have so much respect for them and reverence for them. However, she always came across that way. So growing up, I was just kind of like, mm. But as I've gotten older, I've been more open to reading her work and, being a little bit more, giving her a little bit more grace because it's like, I kind of like know her story now a little bit more. I read I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings like 2 or 3 months ago, and it's basically like one of her mini autobiographies, and she basically discusses her life up until she's 17 and she has her first child. In this book, it's basically like her life as an adult. I want to say it's from a span of from the time that she's like 40 to 70, so it's probably about 30 to 35 years of her life, and it's just little excerpts and little experiences that she's gone through. And one of them that stood out to me was when she went to, I think she went to like Egypt or Cairo. She went to some like country in Africa, either Africa or South America. That is such a terrible like range. Like, girl, there's so much space in between Africa and South America. But she went to somewhere in there. Okay, so she goes there, and there's like certain customs. Like she's at this woman's like palace or mansion or whatever, and there's no like table, no formal like furniture, none of that. Like in this person's custom is basically like sit on the floor and they eat on the floor. And she sees that no one has their shoes on, and there's like this long rug, and she sees like everyone walking around the rug, and she's like, well, I'm gonna walk on it. Like I'm gonna walk on the rug, and since nobody else is, I'm gonna do it. And it's like, girl, you're in another country. There's clearly a reason as to why they're not walking on the rug. But she goes and she walks on the rug. So she walks on the rug. And then, like, I guess the lady who invited her like workers, domestic workers, they like come and roll up the rug, and then they bring out a new rug. And then later they all place the food on the rug and the drinks, and they all gather around and sit around the rug, and she's like, oh my god, I just walked on the dinner space, like I feel terrible. And it's like, girl, you saw nobody else was walking on the rug, and you're not from this country. So it's like you kind of like mirror the cultural norms of the people that you're around in this certain country that you're in. It's like I feel like in reading, ouch, that hurt. In reading her books, um, Maya is very rebellious. Like that's she just has like this rebellious nature and this rebellious spirit and about her, which is good and also not good sometimes. And in this situation, it just wasn't good. Fix my hair. It wasn't good in the situation, but it was just one of those things, like a humbling experience that she had to learn, and I just thought that was interesting. There was another experience where she had to go speak in Winston-Salem, and she was speaking at Wake Forest College. I had no idea Wake Forest College was in Winston-Salem. I've also never been to Winston-Salem. Wouldn't mind going. Anyway, so she went to go speak there, and at the time she was married to a white man. I think she lived up north, and this was like early 70s. So she was just like, I don't know if I really want to like stay too long, and her husband couldn't come with her to like protect her. Excuse my nails, they look terrible. And so she asked her friend from New York, another black woman who's like, you know, educated, upward moving, whatever. She's like, okay, well, I'll drive down, or I'll come down to D.C., then we can go down to North Carolina together, and I'll go there with you. And she's like, okay. So she goes and speaks at Wake Forest in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. She's in North Carolina. She's dealing with Southern whites, and this school has been integrated with black people. And the students are like talking about the different stereotypes that black people give one another and white people give one another, and how it's just a lot of racial tension. And she felt like she was a bridge in this moment to help bring this divide together. And I really related to that because I feel like in my life, I'm always being used as the bridge. I'm always the bridge. I'm always the pacifist. I'm always the one that's got to be like, okay, guys, let's talk it out. Let's do this. And it drives me nuts. Like she was really integral in helping those students overcome those issues and the stereotypes. I thought that was really interesting. I really could relate to her on that. So she's done having her speaking engagement at Wake Forest University. Her and her friend, who's also a black woman, they're still in Winston-Salem, and they go out to eat or breakfast before they catch either their train or their flight. I'm pretty sure it's their flight. Because Maya was like me. She was like, I'm not driving anywhere. I'm taking flights. I'm like, sis, we here. So anyways, they go to the airport, they eating or whatever, and she was like, to her black friend, she was like, you know, first of all, Maya was about that action. That's why I have grown to like her. She was talking to her friend. She was like, you know, I hope they serve us because we're in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. We're not in New York where we live. So if it comes down to it, I'm calling the police if they don't serve us. I'm like, sis. She was like, because we ordered our food 30 to 45 minutes ago and it has not come. Baby, when I say, I was like, baby, we right here. Because people like to play with my stomach. And I'm tired of that. So I can only imagine what it was like back in the 70s, 60s, 50s, when you got people controlling your food who don't really like you. So they talk to like the waitress or whatever, and she's like this white girl, this little like southern white girl, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry, we ran out of grits, like, oh, forgive me, like everybody on that side of the restaurant hasn't eaten either, blah, 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 like forgive us, whatever. And so Maya like kind of recoiled and like felt really embarrassed, you know, because she was like, okay, I shouldn't have made that assumption. Like it was just another lesson in humility. So I like how vulnerable Maya can be And she has no problem showing that vulnerability and that humanity within herself. Even someone as great as her, like such a great writer, such a great activist as her, can be like, okay, in this scenario I was wrong and I apologize. Like she apologized to the girl or whatever, and they eventually got the grits. Everybody got their food. They left. They went on. Anyways, this book is full of like a lot of valuable lessons, and she said she would never go live in the South, and she actually ended up living there for 40 years, and she died there. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book. She has lived such an interesting, spirited, free-spirited life, and I hope that's something I hope to emulate. I hope to do the things that Maya has done, and I hope to have the impact that Maya has had. I respect her tremendously, and I love and value her work. And it was a quick read. It was only like 155 pages. You know me. Even with the quick ones, it takes me forever. But if you have the time, if you ever run across it, read Letters to My Daughter, or Letter to My Daughter by Maya Angelou. This week is the week that Toni Morrison was birthed. So, in honor of that, I will be reading Song of Solomon this week. And it's going to be, I can tell you it's going to be a tough week. Because Toni's no easy feat. But we love Miss Toni, and we will honor her this week because her birthday is tomorrow. And I will talk about it next week. And we will sit here and we will talk for 10 to 15 minutes. But I hope you guys have a great week. I'm excited for the week. I'm blessed to be here again, and so are you. So have a great day.